Briefly, I'll be speaking on God searched and found nothing. God searched and found nothing. In the story of Balaam and Balak, you may be surprised to see that with all the effort of Prophet Balaam to curse the Israelites, yet it was not fruitful. Fruitfulness is not determined by how much effort you can put into something, though it is important to put in your effort, but most importantly, you must find the will of God. It is the effort you put into God's will that will yield fruit. Are you there? So, effort is important, but in what direction are you putting your effort? Your effort will only count if it is directed in the direction of the will of God. So, it is the effort you put into the will of God that will count. I hope you understand. Now, this is why the effort of Balaam to curse the Israelites didn't work out, because it was not the will of God. The Israelites were not aware of all these great efforts of their enemies to destroy them, yet they were not, yet they were not affected by all their attempts. This was possible because the Bible revealed that God have not found iniquity in them. So, when you study the story of Balaam and Balak, how they tried to curse the Israelites and yet nothing was happening, you may begin to wonder, why is it that even when the Israelites were not aware, they could not still curse them? Why is it that the curses of these people could not penetrate into the midst of the Israelites? And the Bible then shows us the secret. And the secret is because God has not found iniquity in them. You need to understand that there are two personalities that can dictate iniquity, and they are man and God. Man can dictate iniquity, and God can also dictate iniquity. Man judge with what they can see openly because they don't know what you are doing in the secret. Are you there? Now, but God knows what you do, both in the open and in the secret. So, So, for the fact that even God could not find any iniquity in them shows that they were all living in perfection. This was possible because they obeyed the instructions of God from the mouth of Moses, their leader. There was an instruction that God gave Moses, and Moses transferred this instruction to them. And because they obeyed that instruction, they entered into safety. There are a lot of things there are a lot of good you will do to yourself if you choose to be obedient. There are a lot of good things you will do to yourself if you choose to be obedient. The Israelites did not even know that somebody was trying to curse them. All they knew was Moses gave them an instruction and they obeyed. But because they obeyed, unconsciously they entered into a covenant of safety. Now, to a point that God searched and found no iniquity in them. And that was why, because God could not find iniquity in them, it was impossible for Prophet Balaam to place a curse on them. So to mean that the life of holiness is power. Living holy on its own is power. Because the moment your enemy cannot find iniquity in you, the moment, it is impossible for the devil to dictate iniquity or sin in you, it will be hard for him to also to attack you, because holiness is protection. So there are two people that dictate sin, man and God. Man will look at the outer, outer, outer circumstance. For instance, if you see a man that is, there are certain things you can see somebody do openly that you say, oh, this one is a sinner. So man will judge from what they can see, but God will judge from both the visible and the invisible. So for the fact that God could not find iniquity in them at that point, it means that they were living in perfection. As a matter of fact, if I'm to say, I will have just concluded that that point, that period was that period was the period where the the Israelites were living in perfection. That was the most holy season for the Israelites. Because, of course, if you have studied this pattern of the Israelites, if you have studied their story, you will know they are they are stubborn people. But that period, they were somehow, on the strength of their obedience to the instructions of God from the mouth of Moses, they became perfect. That was the most holy period for the Israelites. At that point, they were not rebellious as they used to do. They were not stubborn. They were not stiff-necked. They were obedient. Because of that, God began to fight battles on their behalf, even without telling them. I pray the Lord will help us to live a life of holiness in the name of Jesus.